Welcome to Anderson in Focus with CLA, where Anderson comes into clear view. We're Community Lens of Anderson, a grassroots crew digging into what's happening behind the headlines, from budgets and public safety to social justice, civic engagement, and the folks making change happen right here at home. Real talk, real people, real impact. Let's zoom in. So Angie, we're here to talk about the city council meeting that was on January 8th, and we have the agenda in front of us. So this is kind of our interpretation of that meeting.
Exactly. Happy 2026.
Yeah. So
City of Anderson.
Yeah. We are coming together for one of our first conversations about public meetings and information that we try to gather as a volunteer group here at Community Lens. So you're a veteran at doing recaps. So what did you see and hear in the meeting?
Well, I was pleased to see that all counselors were in attendance and they all looked ready to go, refreshed and ready to take on the new year. And also it was great to see that the public showed up.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say all the seats, but at least over half the seats were full.
I saw the same thing. I thought, well, I looked at the agenda and it seemed pretty light. And I thought, boy, this is a big crowd.
Right. After the meeting, I was talking to some people, and apparently there was the expectation that there was going to be talk about the athletic park at the meeting. And so I think perhaps that is what brought more people out.
Yeah, that I'm sure that's a hot topic right now. And I do see on the communications section, Nicole Kapuscinski, and our apologies for any mispronunciations or pronunciations.
Right.
Two there in a row. So she had some comments, it looks like, about the park and some other areas. What was your takeaway?
Right. And before we talk about that, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
Just because I'm very chronological.
Please.
I'm sorry.
That's good.
You know, the first order of business was really to do an election of the new president and president pro tem for the council for this coming year. And there were two nominations. One was Councilor Graham. The other was Councilor Culp for president. And the vote went along party lines, 5-4. Councilor Graham is the new president of the Anderson City Council.
Okay.
And then for pro tem, the nominations were Councilor Harless and then Councilor Dixon. And again, it was a 5-4 vote along party lines for Councilor Dixon. So he is our president pro tem.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't hear some of that early voting. I kind of scooted into the meeting right as they had gotten started. So I wasn't sure what to expect with those elections for the new president. I would say I was a bit surprised, but maybe I shouldn't be surprised for the voting going down party lines. So
right. Same.
We see that happen a lot.
Right. And I'd like to also mention that Councilor Robin Wagner joined the city council. She was elected out of the 5th district after Councilor Stevenson stepped down. So President Graham welcomed her, and as did the public, to the city council. So welcome, Councilor Wagner.
Yeah, she brings a lot of experience from the county.
For sure.
She was on the county council, and I don't recall the office that she's in.
The auditor's office.
Okay.
So she has 20 years of experience there.
Yeah. So she's been in and around government, and I think President Graham mentioned that. So they're looking forward to some of her expertise.
Right.
Good. So it's a good start.
Yes. So back to Nicole. So she was under communications to speak about the water park, but she actually had 3 different topics that she wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
One of them was her being silenced by the council and feeling like she has not been able to be heard, similar to or in the same manner that other citizens are being heard. And while she was speaking to the council, I took away that she was also speaking to other city, or what word am I thinking of? Commissions commissions, like redevelopment, because she also mentioned speaking out, about Rebecca Crooms being silenced at meetings.
Yes,
And
it's not an uncommon concern that we've heard from citizens about being either. I don't know if the word silenced is so much the word as it is just kind of, your time is reduced, or it may not be always acknowledged. Sometimes there's not always a public comment space. The rules have changed a bit, specifically about providing your address or not. And so there's kind of a local debate on whether that's required or what part of your address should be required. And this is a theme across these commissions. Now, I want to back up for a quick second because I am looking at the agenda for the executive session. There was an executive session that was scheduled right after. And
do they have a specific time on that?
6:45.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check on that.
So, that tells me that they had a very strict time limit on what they were going to do in the city council meeting. So had there been public comment and lines of people wanting to speak, they'd be hard-pressed to make that 6:45 time frame.
Find that to be, again, when we're talking about silencing or, public comments was on the agenda, one lady was able to slip in, I think, because people in the audience were like, wait, you're going to listen to what the citizen has to say.
That's right.
But as soon as she was done, it was shut off.
Yeah.
Because of that 6:45 deadline, which if you want to have an executive session after a council meeting, I think that's totally fine. But perhaps the time could be TBD.
That's right. A couple of things I want to mention about it. I'm just going to read for listeners what this business included. It was one agenda item for the executive session, and it was for discussion of strategy with respect to the initiation of litigation or litigation that is either pending or has been threatened, specifically in writing. Now, I don't know what this might be pertaining to. Do you have an idea?
I don't. I was not expecting that to be what the executive session was about.
So I'm wondering, because I do know through Nicole's social media accounts and just her sharing last evening, she has filed some complaints. And I don't know if each of these are related or not. This litigation for the executive session could be totally separate. But I just found it interesting that that was on the executive agenda. So I'm not sure what that includes, so we'll keep an eye out for that.
Right.
Did you have any other thoughts about what Nicole shared or any of her assertions?
Well, when she started speaking about the athletic park, clearly she's done a lot of research about Superfund sites, which I know very little about. I just know that they're sites of contamination. They're under control of the EPA to do cleanup. So, and Anderson has one, the Broadway Street Corridor, which has been talked about in the public quite a bit lately. Now, how that relates to athletic park, I don't know that next step.
Yeah, same. I have looked at some of the maps that Nicole has presented or published, and I really can't make the connection to say this Superfund site specifically overlaps with the development that's planned for Athletic Park and how that is to be mitigated. So
right,
we have more to learn there.
Definitely. And Nicole was feeling the pressure of the time constraint, and so she was going through her presentation, I think, more quickly than she would have liked. So it was really hard to capture everything she was saying. So I'm hoping that we can learn more from her in the future.
Yeah, and lastly, I wanted to say that I thought President Graham did a nice job of maybe helping Nicole or asking of Nicole that she might put some of these main thoughts into writing.
Yes.
And to kind of condense some of her concerns and wishes and to submit that to him for further review. So I was very appreciative to hear that.
Right, same. And I do have a quick quote from her.
Nice.
That I thought was very insightful. And And it simply was that the city seems to have an urgency to build without the same urgency to get answers to questions. And so I thought that was an insightful, perhaps, certainly without the urgency to hear from the public.
Absolutely.
And answer questions. So
yeah, good point. Well, we definitely are here for it. We are looking forward to more city councils, and I might want to suggest that I don't know if it's toot our own horn or give a little bit of a shout out to Community Lens of Anderson and the volunteers. We did present some expectations for 2026. So you and I addressed the city council in December, asking that they really consider community input as an important piece to any big legislation that they pass or funds for infrastructure projects that really would involve the city at large. And we even gave some suggestions on ways that they could engage citizens, and that we would certainly support any of those efforts should they want to discuss them. So I feel like there was a bit of a tone shift, if I might say, in January's meeting, that they were very open to public comment.
I agree with that. And I was, again, very happy to see public comments back on the agenda, even though it did get kind of glossed over. But
it's a work in progress there.
Exactly. So
yeah, good.
So yeah, hopeful for more steps in the future for sure.
Yeah. The other item, and you may have some notes on this, was the introduction of an ordinance 3325.
Right. So 3325 is a zoning change request, and the petitioner is Michael Johnson. He's the owner of Modern Tree Solutions, and hold on a second. The address is 2927 South Range Line Road. And so basically the zoning request is to go from R3 and I1, because there's a couple of different parcels that are actually zoned differently, to go to to go to I1, R3 and I2 going to R.
Okay.
We need Micah Mitchell to call in to clarify this for us.
All right, take two.
Take two.
What now? Let's so this parcel, it has two different zoning codes.
Right.
And we're combining those into one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who cares what their their classifications are?
We will eventually moving forward, but tell us about what the intention of that use is now.
So the intention is that Mr. Johnson's business can be on the same property as his residence.
Okay.
And currently R3 and I2 do not allow for that.
Okay.
And for what his type of business is, which currently is tree service, but he would like to expand to having a crane service and then eventually get into landscape supplies.
Okay, yeah,
and
I did
he has
hear that.
13 acres of land, so there's plenty of room. And just to put a visual with where this is across the street from on Range Line from that solar park by the railroad tracks.
Okay.
So
is it on the curve? I was trying to think.
So.
Because I think I recognized the picture that Micah had up at the meeting. And I've kind of kept my eye on that property just because it once was, it was residential. But you could tell it does seem to be more of a storage. They're using it, I think, more of a business site than a residential even currently. So it'll be good to have the proper zoning, I think, for what they're wanting to do.
Exactly.
And can you have some other notes? I don't want to interrupt there, but I do want to put a pin in talking about kind of what has to happen before these final votes on zoning changes happen. Like, where did Mr. Johnson have to go before this happened?
Gotcha. Sure. Do you want to dive into that now?
I would love that. And
okay.
You're more well-versed, so I'd like to hear how that works.
So his first step was to go to to talk to Micah Mitchell in zoning, and then Micah and Tim prepare what they call the packet. They get all the details together of what this would entail and then present to the Plan Commission.
Okay. And just to back up, so Micah Mitchell is he's the secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals. I believe BZA is what they refer to it as, but he's also in the Municipal Development Division of the City of Anderson.
Right.
So he works alongside Tim Stiers, who is the director of that department, or I know I'm not getting titles correct. So,
right.
So that's the starting point, getting that package together, working with the business owner, and then presenting that to the Planning Commission.
Right.
Okay.
And the Office of Municipal Development, they will either recommend that the zoning change or not recommend it, and then they'll have their reasons why. So they recommended the zoning change. Then the Plan Commission voted 6-0. There's 9 people on the Plan Commission, only 6 were there that night. So 6-0, they voted to recommend it to the City Council. And the City Council is the one who actually approves it.
Okay. All right, so there's a lot more work behind the scenes before they get to the City Council.
Right.
And the last question I had about that, did I also hear Mr. Johnson say that he had one more council or commission to visit before the final approval?
He will have to appear before City Council for a final vote, the third vote.
Okay.
And then Micah mentioned he will have to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals because of what he's storing outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's a special exception.
Oh, okay, that's right. So there's a few parts to this.
Right.
It's not just cut and dry. Like you show up to the Office of Municipal Development and say, I need this change, and there's not just a stamp of approval.
Right, luckily.
Yeah, good, good.
There is a process.
Okay.
And the citizens can engage along the way. You know, the Plan Commission is a open meeting, as is the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yeah, I look forward to talking about what some of those different commissions and meetings are so that the general public kind of is aware of when they are and which ones are open, and most are. They're public meetings, so we'll talk about those on another show. Okay. Anything else about that ordinance before we talk about public comments or your thoughts?
I do have just a more general thought, and that is that in general there is a philosophy or a way of governing that where zoning regulations aren't perhaps so strict or confined, and that there wouldn't be a need to come back and do all these like more spot zoning. So, for example, I'll just say a strong towns approach would be that people can have much more flexibility to do what they want with the property that they own, and that being able to live at a place where your business is definitely beneficial for the community at large. So I think that while I totally support this zoning change, so Mr. Johnson can hopefully grow his business because obviously his expenses can be reduced when he's only paying for one parcel for business and residential, that it's something that as a city we can look at, maybe looking at our zoning ordinance to see how we can also help encourage other people or enable other people to do similar things without going through this long process.
Yes, and I'd like to learn more about some of those strategies through Strong Towns too, so those can be some conversations I would look forward to. I was thinking when it comes to, I'll just use the term, jumping through the hoops of what it takes to get to this point, you know, not maybe every citizen either has the stamina, the time, the knowledge about how to navigate this. And good news is I do feel like the Municipal Development Department does a good job of, once you show up, them walking you through the process. So I do feel really good about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to encourage citizens to maybe learn more if you're considering a business here locally. Right. So what else, Angie? Anything that you gleaned from the meeting?
So the last thing before public comments was Councilor Dixon kind of just threw out there, wasn't on the agenda, but he made a request, but I call it more of a plea because he's been asking for this since last year. But there is something called the Civilian Review Board. And this is the opportunity for citizens to bring forth grievances against basically the city of Anderson, like different departments. It could be anything within the city government. If they have a grievance, they bring it before the Civil Review Board. They don't necessarily have authority to handle it. They just they're there to make recommendations on how it perhaps could be addressed. And it has been inactive for many years, and Councilor Dixon has really been pushing to get it back up and running since, like I said, 2025. Go ahead.
No, so I'm listening and learning. Yes.
Okay. So he put out a request. Every councilor needs to appoint one person to this board. And I don't know who has or who hasn't, but it's not complete. And so the board continues to be inactive. Mm-hmm. So he was pretty frustrated, I would say.
Yeah, I sense that.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful that the councilors will take heed and they will get their nominations in, and we can see this board active in 2026.
Yeah, good. So these were all things that by looking at the agenda, you wouldn't have thought happened at the meeting, but you're always so good to capture the essence and the nuances of the meeting. So we appreciate you, Angie.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we had one public comment that did sneak in there at the end, and did you have any thoughts about that?
So this woman was basically at the end of her rope, I would say, as far as not knowing where to turn. Mm-hmm. And she knew the city council wasn't the entity that could address her issue directly, but like I said, she didn't know where else to go. And she is facing Medicaid cuts, and I don't quite understand all of that, but Medicaid cuts that have to do with her adult son who has a disability and is not able to live on his own. And she has reached out to Governor Braun, to Senator Young, to Senator Gaskell, to Representative Pierce. I mean, I think she even said Senator Banks. So she has reached out to everyone and has not received any kind of reply. And so she was just saying, do any of you know anything that I can do?
Yeah, and what happened?
Well, Councilor Graham made a great connection between this citizen and Councilor Harless, who works for the Anderson Trustee's Office. I have to be honest, I don't know the exact extent of what Councilor Harless will be able to do for her, but they were connected and with the promise to meet and talk. Do you know more about what?
I don't. I heard her make clear that she said, I'm not sure exactly, this is new for me, and so I'm not sure exactly how I might assist you, but I'm certainly willing to sit down and hear your plea and help navigate maybe a next step.
Right. So that's encouraging, and I was very grateful for that connection that President Graham thought to make that.
Yeah, I thought
and
that
then,
was good.
Yeah, Councilor Culp brought up a local nonprofit, Plainsong.
Oh, yes.
Just as something I think that perhaps could, just a connection for, Plainsong won't have anything to do with Medicaid, but they do work with children and adults with intellectual disabilities, and so perhaps there was just a service there that could be provided for this family.
Well, I think we definitely saw a nice connection made there, and I do want to again note how the energy in the room seemed to at least be leaning into citizens a little bit more.
Right.
So
very much so. If I had the opportunity to speak in public comments, I would have publicly thanked the council for adding public comments back to the agenda, and just to acknowledge that and know that the only time, you don't want to always just speak to criticize. There's definitely, this is a two-way street, and it's very good to acknowledge the steps that are taken once they're asked for.
I agree. Well, as we move through this agenda and we kind of wrap up this recap, wanted to just get a little bit of history on how long you've been doing these recaps and what other meetings should citizens kind of be paying attention to?
When I was looking back through my notes last night, I started them in 2023-ish. And then in 2025, I missed a few meetings, and so I didn't do recaps, and then I just kind of fell off at the end of 2025. It was a tough year.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. But I do hope, in addition to this podcast, I have received some comments that have encouraged me to continue to do them in case, if podcasts aren't people's thing and they'd rather just flip through some slides, then I find value in that.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So, yeah, we certainly rely on them here at CLA, your recaps and perspective, and we appreciate all that you contribute. And I look forward to more conversations like this. So, Angie, I don't know that we always introduce ourselves at the beginning, but I'm Kelly, and
I'm Angie Strickler,
and we are volunteers with Community Lens of Anderson. You can find us on Facebook under Community Lens or Community Lens of Anderson. We do have somewhat of a functioning website that we hope to kind of refresh this year. It's communitylensofAnderson.org. And if you want to reach out to us, you can private message us on Facebook. There are also some links that you can click within the website to get a message to us. And then we'll be publishing our email a little bit later in the year. So with that, I want to thank you, Angie, for your astute observations and summaries. And we'll be talking again soon.
All right. It's been great. Thank you.
Thanks.